Hi, I'm John Merna, and welcome to this week's blog, How Debt Settlement at Debt Relief Companies Scam You. So today we're talking about debt settlement companies, what they are, how they work, what they cost, and why they don't really work for you. When you start these programs, you're generally in a bad position. You're behind on your bills, being harassed. You're looking for a solution because the creditor is no longer willing to accept a certain amount, generally the minimum payment, in order for you to catch up on the debt. Sometimes it's not just the minimum payments that are forcing you into the program. Sometimes it's just that the number of minimum payments you have exceed your budget in order to be able to deal with the total amount of debt you have. So the hope is that a debt settlement company would be able to reduce the debt. So you contact one of these companies, and basically what they say is, give us all your bills. We're going to put them into a group. You're going to start financing or funding an account, and that's what they give you. That's when they give you a minimum payment, say $200 or $300, $400 a month, depending on how much your debt is, and you pay into the account. They tell you that once we have enough money, we'll start settling out with the debt, but while you're in this program, paying into the account, we will manage them, we'll deal with lawsuits, we'll do a lot of things. So basically that's the gist of the program. Sounds really good. A certain amount a month you can afford. They're going to deal with all the debt. You'll slowly work through the pile of debt and settle them out for an amount you can afford at a rate you can afford it. The problem with this concept is that you can't fund the pot, so to speak, the amount of money you're putting aside to settle out the debt fast enough to keep them all happy. So let's say hypothetically you have 10 creditors. You're financing, you're paying the debt relief or debt settlement company the $200-300 a month. Within a 12-month period, let's say at $200 a month, you have $2,400. And maybe they'll settle out the first creditor. Now, I just want to tell you, one of the ways that they make you happy and try to keep you in is they'll work on a small one first. They don't work on the largest ones to find out if it's going to work with them, because if it doesn't work with the largest ones, it's going to tank your whole program. You'll be in an attorney's office in no time if the large ones don't work with the program. So they work on a small one. Settle that out, you're happy, they tell you what you're doing. They always give you these updates saying we're working on these things, but I've had many clients come in where they've said, I just got a wage garnishment or a lawsuit, but when I go back to the debt settlement company, they're telling me, oh no, we're working on it, it's in the program, we're in negotiations. So the problem is they're not working on it constantly. It's a very fixed process, and once you've depleted that first settlement or that first pot amount you've gathered, you're back to square one funding the plot. So maybe the next credit card's $5,000 and they want to settle it for half. Well, that's going to take you another year to fund. You're starting to see what's going on here, right? The rest of the people in line, let's say the other 9, are not going to wait 2 years to get paid. They want to be first. So they all, and how do you scramble to be first? Well, you go to court, you rush to the courthouse steps first. And that's what's going to happen. The ones at the back of the lines are the ones that are not getting the attention or the money or are not on the list are going to start suing you, opt out of the program if they've even opted in to begin with, and they're going to come after you personally. I want to warn you about a couple other things. These debt settlement programs only work, or only, work isn't the best word, only apply to credit card debt. They won't work, they don't work for credit unions that you owe loans on. They don't work for these unusual companies where you can get financing on the web and all of that, payday loans on the web or whatever. So the problem is that, you know, unless you have a straight credit card pile of debt, you're not going to get much help from these companies. Even if you have one, if you think about it, let's say you have one creditor that doesn't work with a program, that creditor can take you to court, put you in a position to be garnished, and it will tank the whole process. So as you're starting down this road and you go into it, you're going to think, wow, this is great, I can afford it, but you know, 12 months later, it generally tanks within 12 months, in my experience, from people that come to me from these debt relief companies, because they've depleted the pot. The rest of them are no longer willing to wait, and they're suing them within 12 months. So you've just spent, you know, remember, I'm just using a very low number, $2,400. I mean, it could be as much as $5,000 or $6,000 in that year, and only to end up back in the bankruptcy attorney's office now trying to talk to him about how to file a case and afford to file the case. So going into the program, you know, there is a lot of math involved, and you have to think, I know that they're telling you the payment will be affordable for you because they've looked at your expenses and they tailor that payment so you'll say yes. The problem with that is they tailor that payment so you'll say yes because there's one big thing built into the system that benefits them, and that is they get paid first. You quit in a year, they still made all of their money, and you're back, you know, nowhere looking for a bankruptcy attorney to file your case. So to be fair to these companies, there's really only one circumstance where I've seen that they work fairly well. And that is where your income's fairly high, the debt is relatively low, there's been a circumstance that's interrupted your income and you couldn't afford to pay the debt temporarily, all of the bills are behind, they don't really want to work with you, they are forcing you to kind of come up with a lot of money, which you can't do, but you do have good income, and like I said, the other side of the equation is that debt is not insurmountable. Most people are not that way. Most people have struggled to juggle the debt to the point where they've maxed out the credit cards, they've maxed out the equity they can tap onto before they decide about any kind of default. So I warn you against these companies. You would be better off, even if you contacted them, go to a local bankruptcy attorney and have him discuss, or you know, call us, have us discuss, you know, the complexities of what's going on, because in most cases I'd have to say the failure rate, in my estimate, just based on my clients coming up, is extremely high. Okay? Well, thank you for listening to our blogs, and we hope to put out more information on a weekly basis to help you make good decisions about your finance. You have a great day.